Hello everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm 13 years old. My mom passed away when I was only 3, and ever since then I've lived with my dad. My dad is truly a one-man powerhouse. He seems to go through girlfriends like changing shirts. I've tried my absolute best to be understanding. I realized my dad had a very hard time after my mom died, and had to raise me all by himself. I just wish my dad could find a woman he truly loves and only date her. Last year, I entered the 8th grade, feeling both nervous and excited. Fortunately, most of my classmates are very kind, and my teachers are great too, especially Miss Hamilton, my athletic coach. I've always loved sports, and she recognized my potential and encouraged me to try out for the school's girls' soccer team. I took my dad to the first parent-teacher conference. Miss Hamilton was standing on the school grounds, greeting everyone. She and my dad seemed to have been talking for much longer than anyone else. I stood there, completely shocked. Surely they must be flirting already. I've lived with my dad long enough to know the signs. Finally, my dad left Miss Hamilton's side, and I led him to the main conference room. The evening went smoothly, and everyone gradually left. I waited anxiously in the hallway for my dad. What could he possibly have to talk about with my coach for so long? I'm certainly not a troublemaker. I always turn in my homework on time and rarely cause any issues. Eventually, they came out. Dad and Ms. Adams, the French teacher, were laughing together like they've known each other for ages. "It's so nice to meet you, Tracy," Dad said, touching her hand. "You too, David," she replied, playfully twirling her hair. I could only roll my eyes in frustration. How long have they been this friendly? I was mortified. I grabbed my dad's hand, quickly said goodbye to Ms. Adams, and hurried him away from there. It turned out my dad had been flirting with the physical education teacher out on the field, because the next week she showed up at our door for dinner. Out of her athletic gear, and even with styled hair, it took me a moment to recognize her. But then I knew it was Miss Hamilton. I was furious with my dad. At the very least, my dad could have given me a heads up that she was coming over. I was sitting there in my bright pink fuzzy pajamas. This situation was truly awkward. My dad and Miss Hamilton were clearly having a great time. They kept looking at each other while eating half their meal. It was annoying, but maybe I could use this to my advantage. To skip those endless, boring soccer practices. Middle school was fine, and it turned out I was quite good at French. Ms. Adams was very patient with me. She always gently explained whenever I made a mistake. One afternoon after school, while she was explaining a sentence to me, her phone buzzed on the desk. She didn't pay attention, but I glanced at the screen. Was that my dad's number? On the way out of school, I ducked into the restroom for a moment. As I was about to leave, I heard voices in the hall. "Sorry, I'm in class right now. See you tonight, David. I miss you so much. I can't wait to see where you're taking me for our romantic date." I cracked the door open and saw Ms. Adams talking on the phone. I leaned against the restroom door, stunned. Could my dad be secretly dating both teachers at the same time? Just then, the janitor opened the door and I stumbled backward. Total disaster! When I got home, I confronted my dad right away. My dad admitted he was dating both teachers, but he refused to stop because he was enjoying himself. I was furious, but besides helping my dad hide things, what other choice did I have? I reluctantly became my dad's secret helper. But hey, having both teachers favor me wasn't all bad. I got an A on my French test even though I knew I messed up a few questions, and I became the captain of the girls' soccer team even though another girl played better than me. Even though I liked the perks, I still found it hard to deal with. Other students started whispering and looking at me strangely. I started feeling isolated and miserable. Keeping secrets from my dad was a huge challenge. Once after school, I was walking to the bus stop when Miss Hamilton called out, asking if I wanted a ride, because she had baked scones and wanted to bring them over. I knew Ms. Adams was supposed to come over after school. I panicked and blurted out the first excuse that popped into my head, that I had a severe peanut allergy and couldn't sit in her car. Another time, I was out with some friends watching a movie. When I went out to the lobby to buy more buttered popcorn, I ran into Ms. Hamilton. She asked why I wasn't in bed resting, and I just stared blankly. It turned out my dad had told her I was sick that evening and couldn't go on our date. Finally, I understood, and I confessed to Ms. Hamilton that I had snuck out of the house to see a movie with a boy. She giggled and promised my secret would be safe. Things continued this way for several weeks. Then suddenly one day, everything changed, and my life turned into an absolute nightmare. Miss Hamilton made me haul heavy sports equipment by myself. She was gruff when I missed a shot and even took away my team captain title. Then during French class, Ms. Adams returned my graded homework with a C-. Then she continuously asked me questions I hadn't learned and got visibly annoyed when I couldn't answer. I asked my dad what was wrong, and he said everything was fine. He was still dating both women. Dad blamed their mood on the full moon, saying it was the curse of the month. That weekend, my dad was having dinner with Miss Hamilton when Ms. Adams also showed up. The two women confronted him, then poured salad dressing and wine all over my dad. They talked in the teacher's lounge and discovered they were both dating the same man, so they teamed up to expose that scoundrel. Now, both teachers are taking out their anger on me for what my dad did. It's terrible. Now I hate going to school. I'm completely fed up. None of this is my fault. I told my dad not to date both women, so why are they blaming me for my dad's actions? I hate my dad immensely. He caused all these problems, and worse, he acts like he doesn't even care. My dad is already dating someone else. How can I make him understand that his selfish behavior has ruined my school life and caused me so much misery? This is the end of my story. Please make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching until the end, and I'll see you next time.